Welcome back to the Intended Lifestyle. This is your host, Dr. Brian Nymphius. Now, in the last segment, when we left off, we were talking about, I told you I was going to introduce and talk about some healthcare myths, because there are some very, very powerful myths that are out there, and I want to absolutely positively dispel some of those myths. So what are some of the myths that are out there? What are some of the things that you are doing that you don't even realize you're doing that are not helpful for you? Let's let's get into them, and let's get into them right now. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to call in and ask. I know when it comes to healthcare, there are not a lot of people out there, or maybe not, I should say, some people may not want to have their questions asked on air. So you can always email me through the website, or find another avenue to contact me, or call us and talk to our call screeners off the air. But I encourage you to do that as best you can. If you have the opportunity, I encourage you to call in here. And the number to call is 866-660-5759. And during the break, I was talking to, I got a message that there are a couple people that had called in, but they didn't want their questions asked on air. So not all your questions have to be answered on air. But so let's talk about some healthcare myths. Myth number one is that it's in my genes, that I was born to be sick and it's in my family genes. Now, nothing can be further from the truth than this. And right now, I know it is very, very popular to study the gene therapy. There's a gene for heart disease. They're looking for the gene for cancer, looking for the gene for obesity. So let me tell you, let me explain to you how this is a myth. And I'm going to prove it here as well. So just because you have a family history of heart disease or a family history of diabetes doesn't mean you have to suffer from it. You're not a victim of bad genes. And here's why. There's two reasons. Number one, the human gene has changed very, very, very little since the dawn of the earth. Okay, the human gene has been the human gene and it's unchanged. So unless you want to do a family history for the last 5,000 years, I suggest you not worry about your genes. Okay? Your genes are going to be expressed depending on your lifestyle. And over the last 150 years, the lifestyle of humans has changed dramatically, and this has caused a giant shift in terms of our expression of these genes. The other thing is, I want you to think about this. Science has discovered that there is a hangover gene. Okay? And by hangover, I mean hangover as in you were out drinking the night before and now you have a hangover the next day. Some people have this hangover gene, and when they go out drinking, they end up with a hangover the next day. Some people do not have the hangover gene, so they can go out drinking with you, and they wake up the next day ready to go like nothing ever happened. This is absolutely true. The gene is out there. It's called ALDH2. It's an inactive form of ALDH, so it's a real gene. It's out there. Science has discovered it. You may have this gene. You may not want to admit you have it, or maybe you already have discovered that you have it. So here's the thing. In the history of the world, nobody ever gets a hangover unless they go out drinking. You see, this hangover gene never gets expressed unless you live the lifestyle that causes the hangover to occur. Unless you're going out and causing the hangover gene to become expressed, you don't have to worry about the hangover. Does that make sense? So if you have the hangover gene, you can stay out all night, but if you're not drinking alcohol, you're going to be fine the next day. But if you have a lifestyle where you're constantly causing that gene to be expressed, then you're going to have the hangover day after day. It's the exact same thing with the gene for obesity, the gene for cancer, the gene for heart disease. If you don't live the lifestyle, then that gene never gets expressed. It's that simple. Most of us try to make it more complicated than it is, but it is literally that simple. So healthcare myth number two. Healthcare myth number two is that living healthy is too expensive. This is one of the biggest lies out there, and it's a lie that we all try to sell ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Let me ask you this. What costs more? Eating a few healthy foods, getting a gym membership, getting some corrective chiropractic care, or a triple bypass surgery? What costs more to you? Having multiple sick days and constantly having to take off of work because you're too sick to go, or never having to miss work because you're healthy? How much more productive are you going to be if you don't have to worry about taking all those sick days? It's not too expensive. That's an excuse people use. Here's another myth. Living healthy is too hard. It's too difficult. I can't live healthy. I don't know how to live healthy. This is also a myth. It's not too hard. Let me ask you this. What's going to be harder for you? Giving up smoking or trying to heal from lung cancer? Pick your poison there. I'm not saying that giving up smoking is easy, but I would rather give up smoking than die of lung cancer. That's just me. We all have to make our own choices in life. Here's another common myth. Myth number 4 is I don't have time to be healthy. Well, if you don't have time to be healthy, do you have time to miss work? Do you have time to spend hours and hours on end at the doctor's office? You've got time. You've got time to learn how to be healthy. And let me ask you this question. Picture, maybe you're older in life, maybe you have grandkids, or maybe one day you want to have grandkids. And if you don't think you have time to be healthy, answer this question to yourself. Would you rather go visit your grandkids, or would you rather have your grandkids visit you at the hospital? You've got time. You've got time right now. If you give your body enough time, it will heal. If you do the right things, it will heal. You'll get healthier, you'll get better, and you'll live a longer, healthier life. Health myth number 5 is that I would rather eat foods that are tasty. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is a huge myth. It's a lie that is propagated day after day because healthy foods taste good. Plus, healthy foods have the nutrients that you need. You and I need to consume nutrients, and the healthier the food is, the more nutrients it has. The more nutrients it has, the better it tastes. But you see, what happens is most of us have grown up in a processed world where our taste buds have been so dampened by processed foods and by salt that if it doesn't have salt attached to it or it doesn't have sugar attached to it, we don't think it tastes good. And once you strip the salt and strip the sugar away and you start enjoying the flavor of healthy foods, you'll find that they actually taste better. And then those unhealthy sugary foods don't taste as good. So those are my top 5 health myths that are out there. And let me repeat them for you just in case you just tuned in. So myth number 1 is you were born sick and it's all about your genes. That's not true. Myth number 2 is that it's too expensive to live healthy. That's not true either. It's much cheaper to live healthy. And you know what they say? They say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's absolutely true. Myth number 3, that living healthy is too hard. It's not hard. It's all in your mind. Myth number 4 is that I don't have time to be healthy. And myth number 5 is that I would rather eat foods that are tasty and that good foods don't taste good, or healthy foods don't taste good. So those are healthcare myths. And the problem in our society is that we don't realize that those are myths. We don't realize that our health is based on our lifestyle habits. We don't realize that we're supposed to be living a healthy life. So what you have to do, there are some things that you have to do in order to really and truly be healthy. But you know what? It starts with your mindset. It starts with the fact that you have to realize where you are right now in terms of health. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest and say, you know what? I'm not as healthy as I want to be. I'm not as healthy as I should be. The other thing that we need to do is we need to understand that our health is our greatest asset. If you lose your health, then you're not going to be able to function. You're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to play. You're going to be sick. You're going to feel bad. And you have to come up with every excuse in the book not to enjoy life. The other thing that we need to do is we need to pay attention to the warning signs. You see, nothing in your body happens by accident. There's a reason for it. Nothing the body does, it does by accident. It does for a specific reason. And if your body is adapting to an unhealthy state, well, that's what your body's going to adapt to. Or if your body's adapting to a healthy state, you're going to get better. The other thing we need to do is we need to take care of our spine. Your spine, your spinal vertebrae protect your spinal cord. And your spinal cord controls your whole body. All of the nerves that exit your spinal cord have to exit, and it's protected by your spinal column. The other thing that we need to do is we need to know and we need to learn how to live healthy. And that's what this program is about. It's about learning how to live healthy and learning and helping to keep you interested in being healthy and then committed to being healthy. So one of the top things you can do, and this is all honesty, is I teach intended lifestyle seminars. I teach them all over. I teach them in my office. I teach them in churches. I teach them everywhere because we're supposed to be healthy. So one of the things you can do is take the time to go on our website, find out when we're doing the next seminar, email me if you want to you want to go to one of the seminars, and take one of the seminars. Learn how to eat right, learn how to exercise, and learn how to live a healthy life. The program has been put together to help show you how to live a healthy life day after day, how to implement healthy tips and make it part of a lifestyle habit. Because that's what it is. Anybody can sit there and go, I'm going to eat right and I'm going to exercise. But unless you have a plan and you start following that plan, It's just that. It's just a tip. Coming up, we've got one more segment to go. Having a great time here. I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you're learning something as well. We're going to continue talking about healthcare versus sick care. You're listening to The Intended Lifestyle. This is your host, Dr. Brian Imphius. If you have any questions, get them ready. We've got one segment left. You can join us online at victorychiropractic.com and watch our live podcast. Coming back after a short break. You guys stay tuned and be right back.